Very popular festival. Throughout the whole of ISKCON, more than Diwali, Govardhana Puja is a very popular festival. I don't know what it was like in Hyderabad on Diwali day, but I can tell you what it was like in Bombay and Diwali. The whole sky was lit up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Fireworks and lights, and if we had all of that money that was spent on all those fireworks and used it for prasadam distribution or book distribution or something transcendental, wow, we could really make a dent. But even more popular is Govardhana Puja. In this very sacred month of Damodar, the Kartik month, where Krishna is displaying very transcendental pastime in many ways, so I want to describe a little bit of that. In Nectar of Devotion, or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami, he identifies there are 64 characteristics of Krishna, qualities of Krishna, 4 of which are unique to Krishna alone. The other 60, they're present in Lord Vishnu, or Narayana, and 55 of them are present in Lord Shiva, and 50 of them are present in the living entities to a smaller degree. And one of those 64 qualities that's unique to Krishna is his very intimate, sweet pastimes of loving exchange, which practically reaches a crescendo in this wonderful Govardhana Leela, and I'll describe that towards the end. But if you look at that list in Nectar Devotion, there are 2 special qualities that I want to point to. One of them is that Krishna is expert, daksha, and the definition given by Rupa Goswami of that expertise is that when something is very difficult to accomplish, and one can do that very easily, that's a quality of expert. Krishna is expert. And the quality before that is clever. And the quality of clever is identified or defined as when multiple things are accomplished by doing one thing. It also takes expertise. By doing one thing, Krishna accomplishes simultaneously many things. Clever and expert. So in this Govardhana Leela, Krishna exhibits these 2 qualities very nicely. When you're trying to be a nice devotee and you encounter somebody that has pride in their heart, do you know any pride extraction methodology that works? Very difficult. But Krishna has. He's expert. Something that's very difficult, he can do very easily. And what to speak of pride in the heart of Indra, the king of heaven? Because this Govardhana Leela surrounds one of Krishna's devotees who sometimes has a problem, Indra. Sometimes. And when he has a problem, he can have a big problem. And that problem springs from pride. And you want to know something? We all have some pride in our heart. And in part, hearing this Govardhana Lila, meditating upon the meaning of Govardhana Lila, will help pride extraction. So Krishna is very expert. He removed the pride of Indra. But Krishna is also very clever. He can, by doing one thing, he can do many things simultaneously. And it's not like multiprocessing. Like while you're chanting, you can also do your homework, plan out your day, solve problems, read the internet, and so many other things while you're chanting japa. Not like that. While doing one thing, many other things. Not like that. Not like that. But by performing this lila, Krishna accomplished simultaneously many things. Just like in the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's a whole chapter in Chaitanya Charitamrita dedicated to describing the 3 external and 3 internal reasons for Lord Chaitanya's advent. And similarly, for Krishna's performance of the Govardhana Lila, there were apparently external and apparently internal reasons for Krishna to perform this wonderful Lila. But it was just one Lila, but many things were accomplished at the same time. For Lord Chaitanya's appearance, the 3 reasons that are given are: it was the for the Yuga avatar. Commonly, at the beginning of each of the 4 yugas, a form of the Lord appears. And when that form of the Lord appears, He establishes Dharma, the particular Dharma for that particular age that's most effective for achieving spiritual perfection. And what is that process that's particularly effective for this age? Hare Nama. You 3 recite it. You know the verse, right? Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevala. You know the verse too, right? Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, 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 Gatir Anyata. The chanting of the holy name of the Lord is our Yuga Dharma. So it was time for the Yuga Dharma to become established. So Lord Chaitanya appeared to do that. The second reason that's given is the prayers of Advaita Acharya, his dear devotee, was calling very loudly, "Oh, Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, please come and rescue this fallen age of Kali. People are simply engaged in sense gratification, even the Brahmanas, how elevated they may be in knowing the scripture. All they're interested is increasing their material prosperity for sense gratification. Oh, Lord Hari, please come." In Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says to Advaita Acharya, "You woke me up. I was in mystic slumber, Yoga Nidra. Your calling was so loud. You woke me, and you were pleading for me to come, so I came, because you're my dear devotee." And a third reason is Krishna was fulfilling his promise. As described in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma sangstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. And Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham. Krishna promises that he will appear when there is discrepancy in the principles of Dharma. So to reestablish those principles of Dharma, Krishna, in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, appeared. There's also described, aside from those external reasons, the external means to the eye of a worldly person they may see, but there were internal reasons, the heart of Lord Chaitanya. It's very beautifully described by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. That Krishna was considering, upon the appeal of Mother Earth in the form of a cow, Lord Brahma came to the shore of the milk ocean and pleaded for me to descend. So I appeared in this world. Krishna made his appearance in this world. And I achieved those things. Pritranaya sadhanam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma sangstapanartaya. I did all those things. But while I performed my wonderful pastimes, I saw that the happiness of Srimati Radharani was even greater than my happiness. And how is that possible? Because I'm Paramapurusha. I'm the Supreme Lord. Rasovai Saha. The Shruti mantras say, and it's true, I am Rasa. But the happiness that I feel is surpassed by the happiness of Srimati Radharani. I want to experience that happiness. And I'm the Supreme Lord, so I tried. And I couldn't experience that happiness. And then I understood the only way to experience the happiness of Radharani is to take the role and the mood of Radharani. What is that love that Radharani feels for me? What is the happiness that she experiences in that love for me? How does she appreciate the qualities that she sees in me? That's only going to be possible if I take the position of Srimati Radharani. So I will do that. I will assume the bhava, the ecstatic mood of Radharani, and the complexion, the duty, the luster of Srimati Radharani. Although I am Krishna myself, I'll appear in the mood of Radha, and then I can experience the love that Radha has for me, the happiness that she experiences in that love, and how she tastes the qualities that she finds in me. Those are the internal reasons. Very deep. But it's disclosed by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami through the agency of Sarup Damodar, who explained all these things to Raghunath Das Goswami. And then Raghunath Das Goswami in turn went to Vrindavan and regularly held discourse on Gaura Lila. And seated in that audience was Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And because Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was so eager to hear the nectar and the truth about Lord Chaitanya, he then became qualified to pass it on to all of us. This is the process of disciplic succession. So now what about Govardhana? Leela? There was an external reason. Krishna orchestrated everything. What happened on the morning before Govardhana Puja took place? Because Govardhana Puja was an afternoon Leela. There was a morning Leela. What was that morning Leela? Does anybody know? Delivering the wives of the Brahmanas. Krishna, one of the names of Krishna is Bhakta Vatsala. What's the meaning? Yeah. He's accessible. He's especially kind and reciprocates with the love of his devotees. So one of those groups of devotees, very famous are the gopis, but they're the elder wives of the Brahmanas. And they had great love for Krishna too. So Krishna wanted to reciprocate with them. So, how did Krishna orchestrate that Leela? He had the cowherd boys feel hungry. Now we know from the description of when the cowherd boys go out to perform their daily pastimes with Krishna, their mothers give them these big lunches. It's just like whenever I get an airplane, people want to feed me on this end and that end. And take something with me on the plane before I go. The cowherd boys had so much prasadam. But somehow they were hungry. It's like Maharaj Parikshit became overwhelmed with thirst. Right? In that Leela. How did that happen? He's Maharaj Parikshit. He can withstand a Brahmastra. What to speak of thirst? He has full control of his senses. But he became overwhelmed with thirst. And then he went to get water from a Brahmana who was sitting there in trance of meditation and became angry. What kind of hospitality are you, some so-called Brahmana? You can't even receive your king. Pah! That's not Maharaj Parikshit. That's Krishna inspired a certain activity to achieve another purpose. This is Krishna's expertise in his cleverness. By one thing, many things. He wanted Srimad Bhagavatam to be manifested, and he wanted Maharaj Parikshit to receive Srimad Bhagavatam, and he wanted Maharaj Parikshit to go back to Godhead. So he arranged for him to become uncharacteristically overwhelmed with thirst and overcome by anger and offend a Brahmana. That's not Maharaj Parikshit. Or Arjuna. He came bewildered. That's not Arjuna. It was induced by Krishna to assist Krishna to teach us Bhagavad Gita so that he could have a proper recipient of that message, Arjuna, so that we could hear that nice dialogue of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna similarly induced the cowherd boys to become overwhelmed with hunger. Oh, Krishna, oh, we're so hungry. Please do something. Like Krishna's a grocery store or something. A restaurant. So you know the Leela. Krishna sent the cowherd boys, go say my name. There's a big yagya. The Brahmanas are doing a yagya. Use my name and Balaram's name. Invoke my name and say, we're very hungry. Can you supply something to eat? Little boys going to adults saying, we're really hungry. Can you supply something to eat? What did the Brahmanas reply? They didn't even say hello. They didn't even acknowledge the boy. We're busy with our yagya. Leave us alone. So the boys were very disappointed. They went back and reported that to Krishna, who smiled knowingly, of course, because they're very proud. So Krishna removed the pride of the Brahmanas by then saying, go invite the wives of the Brahmanas. And immediately they came with so many things. Krishna, Balaram, here's a big feast. Please take. And you know what Krishna said? Krishna said the same exact words, same Sanskrit, to the wives of the Brahmanas that Krishna said to the gopis when they came for rasa dance. Meaning, our acharyas explained, although they had conjugal affection for Krishna, wives of the Brahmanas. Uh-oh. But it was transcendental. It wasn't some mundane something. They had love for Krishna. Their whole life was just, they were doing their duties, but their minds were upon Krishna. Just like earlier today, from the introduction to Bhagavad Gita, the example of the paramour. While the wife is busy with her duties, her mind is on her paramour, thinking, when will that opportunity come that I can be with my paramour? So like that, one can render one's devotional service, do your duties, but always be thinking, when will I get the opportunity to directly be with Krishna? So the wives of the Brahmanas were in a similar mood. And when Krishna called them, they were so happy. But Krishna said, this isn't very good. You've left your homes against the will of your husbands and your family members. They're going to criticize you. It's best if you go back home. Be happy just with your devotional service. Oh, they didn't want to hear that. But that's what Krishna said. And they were more submissive than the gopis. They obeyed Krishna's advice and they went back home. But when they went back home, the husbands saw the radiance, the effulgence, the transformed qualities of their wives, and they could understand they received Krishna's mercy. You are more advanced than we are, because we're doing this yajna for the satisfaction of Lord Narayan, and we've not even understood that he was responding by saying, please give me something to eat. And we said no. We didn't even say no. We didn't have the decency to do that. They were relieved of their pride by a leela that Krishna performed. And following that leela, they were, because that place where that leela transpired is along the Govardhana Prikrama path. And just a little further down the Govardhana Prikrama path is where the Govardhana leela was performed. Because Krishna was walking with the cows. And, as you know, he saw all this big arrangement for a yajna. Krishna knew, it's not just like even in the back of his mind, he kind of figured it out, what's going to happen. It happened by the agency of his own potency. Krishna doesn't figure anything out. He just wills things, and they happen. Could you imagine what it would be like if everything that you willed just happened? Oh, it would be chaos. It's a good thing there's only one Krishna. And that he's apapa vidham, he's supremely pure. So Krishna just willed this whole leela to take place because he knew in Indra's heart there's pride. And there's one thing that's you can count on. Krishna does not like pride in the heart of his devotee. What to speak of Indra, even the gopis. When the gopis manifested some pride, what did Krishna do? He left. He left the rasa dance. He was exhibiting his opulence of renunciation, but he was also wanting the hearts of the gopis to be free from pride. And what was their pride? Oh, how fortunate we are. Here we are in the forest in the dead of night with Krishna, and he's called us to enjoy rasa dance with us. How fortunate we are. And they were feeling some pride. And Krishna just disappeared. Just like poof. Krishna does not like pride in the heart of his devotee. Whether it's Indra, whether it's Kaliya, whether it's the gopis, whether it's you and me, Krishna doesn't like pride in the heart of the devotees. During our class earlier today, there was some discussion about Krishna testing us. Krishna doesn't like pride in our heart. So he may test us to see, here's some facility. Now, how are you going to respond to this facility? Here is some honor. How are you going to respond to this honor? Here is some position. Or the other way, here's some dishonor. Here's some demotion. Here's some challenge. Here's some trying circumstance. Are you going to think of me? Do you really want me? Are you sure? And that's Krishna's kindness. And he does it in different ways. He's filled with variety. And the way that he chose to curb the pride of Indra was to simultaneously achieve many other things. What are some of those many other things that Krishna was achieving? After he told his father, this is a little boy, 6 years old. 6 is a magic number. So many leelas, the child is 6 years old. So he's 6 years old, or 7. And he told his father, don't perform this. After hearing from him what the purpose of the yajna was, we don't need to worship Indra. We need to worship Govardhana Hill. And he did so by atheistic philosophy. Did you know that? Krishna spoke atheistic philosophy. Yes. Karma Mimamsa philosophy. And it went something like this. You don't have to worship anybody. Whether there's God or there's not God, it really doesn't matter. That's supposing there's God. But God is obliged to administer according to the laws of karma. But karma is supreme. And supposing there's not a controller, then you don't have to worry either. So just do good work. Do good karma. And everything will come. God or no God, it really doesn't matter. You don't have to worship Indra. But Govardhana Hill, we're dependent. We're cowherd men. And Govardhana Hill is supplying so many things. Nice grasses for the cows, nice trees for shade for the cows, and caves. When it's very hot, we can go in the caves and become cool. Or in the winter, we can go in the caves and become warm. So many minerals, so many nice things Govardhana is supplying. Nice streams coming down the side of Govardhana Hill. We can refresh ourselves and the cows can drink. So many nice things. We're dependent upon Govardhana. Let's worship Govardhana Hill. Take all these ingredients and make food preparations and offer to Govardhana Hill. Huh? Offer food preparations to Govardhana Hill? Yes, food preparations to Govardhana Hill. At once, please. So Nanda Maharaj just wants to please Krishna because he's a pure devotee. So that's what they did. But Lord Chaitanya wanted to show it wasn't just child's talk or play. So he showed this giant form of Lord Hari. And when they came forward with all their offerings, Hari ate everything. There was nothing left. Big piles of rotis and sabjis and cakes and sweetmeats and so many edibles. Mountains of them. Have you ever been to Anior and you've seen that big area of Govardhana Hill? It's like a couple miles long and they just piles and piles and piles. And Hari ate everything. And Krishna personally came and approached this giant form of Hari and paid obeisances. So Nanda Maharaj came and paid obeisances. Yadyaracharati Shreshtas. And all the Brijvasis followed Nanda Maharaj and paid obeisances before Lord Hari. Because he wanted for us to understand Govardhana is himself. And Lord Chaitanya accepted that, and therefore Lord Chaitanya would not walk upon Govardhan hill. He wanted, like anything, to see the deity of Gopal that had been worshipped by Madhavendra Puri. But Gopal was up on top of Govardhan hill, so he wouldn't go up Govardhan hill. So at the bottom of Govardhan hill, he embraced a rock, a Shila, and wept out of tears of separation. And because of the love of Lord Chaitanya, Gopal came down the hill on a pretense or pretext of there's an invasion of soldiers coming and they may damage the deity, so they had to move the deity down the hill to a hiding place where Lord Chaitanya was. So he could have darshan of the deity for a whole week. So part of the Leela was to demonstrate Govardhan is Krishna. Like when we worship Govardhan Hill or Govardhan Shila, we have with a peacock feather. Because Govardhan is Krishna. Just like a Shalagram Shila, you don't have to install a Shalagram Shila. It's already Narayan, Lord Vishnu. Doesn't require installation. Deities on the altar, they require installation. But Shalagram doesn't require installation. And Govardhan doesn't require installation. Govardhan is Krishna. So there's Krishna circumambulating Krishna. And bowing before Lord Hari. What a wonderful pastime. 3 Haris in one Leela. 3 forms of Krishna. Govardhan, Hari who ate everything, and Gopal, paying his obeisances and circumambulating. And in this Leela, Krishna also shows the importance of cows. Because when, after the feeding of Lord Hari took place, then ample prasad was distributed to the brahmanas and the cows first. Because the floor in the temple room was slippery. I remember, at least in previous years especially, the calf was, his legs were, it was probably very painful for him, so they did the Go Puja outside. But in Vrindavan, at our Krishna Balaram Mandir, it's the first thing they do in the morning. After Mangalarti, when the sun comes up, they go to the Goshal and do Go Puja, on Govardhan Puja. Because cows are to be worshipped. And in this Leela, the cows were offered that very special deference and respect and worship by Krishna. Of course, they're cowherds. But Krishna was showing by example. He wanted us to understand that importance. So he exhibited a very nice Leela for that purpose. But there are internal reasons also. And one of those internal reasons was to please Govardhan. One of the ways of pleasing Govardhan was having Govardhan Puja. But another way of pleasing Govardhan was that Krishna lifted Govardhan and placed his hand beneath Govardhan. It's described by our acharyas when Krishna was holding Govardhan. Govardhan was in ecstasy. So much ecstasy that Govardhan expanded so that all the residents of Vrindavan could easily fit underneath. And not only that, then when the thunderbolts of Indra were coming not just ordinary thunderbolts, but the Samvartaka cloud, the cloud of devastation, was sending showers of rain as thick as pillars. There are some pillars. Thick as pillars coming down. Not just a monsoon. Pillars. And thunderbolts. And not one tree fell over. Not one rock shattered. Govardhan was in ecstasy. It was like nothing. So what happens when we have a little problem? Like somebody in their questions and answers. What do we do when persons say something mean to us? Remember Govardhan Hill, just like, Krishna. When you're happy in Krishna consciousness, those things, it's nothing. You know, besides the philosophy of be detached and be compassionate, those are nice things. But when you're in the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness, those things don't mean anything. So Krishna was reciprocating. He's Bhaktavatsal, and he is pleasing his devotee, because Govardhan is this very, very unique position. Govardhan is Krishna, and Govardhan at the same time is in the mood of Krishna's devotee, but it's not even like Balaram, who's in the mood of Krishna's devotee. It's Krishna in the mood of Krishna's own devotee. The Govardhan Hill is so unique. And Krishna wanted to reciprocate with the little finger of his left hand for 7 days. Govardhan was so happy. How much time do we have? Huh? Okay. There's a very nice description. I'm going to describe a little Leela of how Govardhan appeared. So, in Goloka Vrindavan, Radha was seated by the side of Krishna. And Krishna was smiling, so happy. And Radharani could understand, Krishna, you're so happy. What is it? Please tell me. He said, very soon, we're going to make our appearance in the earthly realm. And such wonderful pastimes will perform together, attracting the hearts and the minds of all the conditioned souls who are trapped in material existence in the earthly realm. And Radharani was simultaneously feeling happy that Krishna was so happy, but she was also feeling sad. And Krishna noticed her sadness, and he asked, why are you sad? It'll be very wonderful. You'll be there too. We'll enjoy together. He said, it won't be the same. What do you mean? Well, Vrindavan is with the cows and the river Jamuna and Govardhan Hill. It won't be the same without Govardhan Hill. Krishna said, don't worry. Govardhan Hill has already made his appearance. Just waiting for us. The river Jamuna is there. And my Surabhi cows, they'll come too. So don't worry. He said, can you describe to me how Govardhan Hill has appeared on earth? So Krishna described. I'm forgetting the name of the rishi. Huh? Palastya. Palastya Muni was on pilgrimage. Well, it goes back further. Yeah. The Vindhya hills are lower than the Himalayan hills. So, Pulasya Muni one day, I'll make it shorter. Pulasya Muni was on pilgrimage, and in the Vindhya hills, he saw this one special hill amongst the Vindhya hills that was super excellent, very tall, majestic, accepted by all the other hills as superlative amongst them. So, wonderful streams, so many varieties of flowering trees, so many celestial birds. So he made the request, may I take your son to come with me? Because where I reside in my abode, where my ashram is, it's all flat and there's no nice hills. Such a nice place to meditate. So, Govardhana consented on one condition. And the condition was that wherever you set me down, I'll go with you. But wherever you set me down, that's it. I'm not going any place further. Pulasya Muni said, that's very reasonable. So Pulasya Muni had this capacity, something like Hanuman's capacity of picking up a whole mountain and flying through the air with that mountain. It's a mystic power. Similar to Hanuman's power. So he lifted Govardhana hill, and he was flying through the air. But as Providence arranged it, he had to answer the call of nature. And it was just over Vrindavan. So he set down Govardhana hill and responded to the call of nature, and then went back to carry Govardhana the rest of the way, but he couldn't move Govardhana. He said, "You've gave me your word. I would travel with you, but only when you put me down. I wouldn't go any place further." So Pulasya was very good at mathematics. He could put 2 and 2 together. He said, "You just wanted to be brought to Vrindavan because you know that Krishna will appear here in Vrindavan. You've tricked me. So that's okay, you're here in Vrindavan, but I make this curse, that every day you'll shrink one size of a mustard seed, and over a period of time you'll disappear." So Govardhana hill, at the time that Krishna was present, was miles tall. And over so much period of time, Govardhana has been diminishing in size. So when you go to Vrindavan, you see Govardhana hill, it's not huge. It's long. It's not as big as when Krishna was present. When Krishna is present, when he lifted Govardhana hill, it was a big hill. Little boy in a big hill. So Krishna appeared to reciprocate with Govardhana and bring happiness to his devotee. But Krishna also was reciprocating with all the residents of Vrindavan, because during the pastimes of Krishna each day, he has his Ashta Kaliya Leela. During different periods of the day, he's with different devotees, exchanging with those different devotees. So that means when he's with this group of devotees, he's not with that group of devotees. And when he's with that group of devotees, he's not with the other group of devotees. And when he's with the other group of devotees, he's not with yet another group of devotees. So they're feeling great separation from Krishna during different parts of the day, while some of the devotees are associating with Krishna. So their desire was to be uninterruptedly with Krishna. So he performed a Leela where they could be uninterruptedly with him for 7 days and 7 nights. He lifted Govardhana hill, and he was in the intimate company of all of his devotees. All 5 of the rasas were engaged simultaneously for 7 days and 7 nights. And everyone was feeling completely satisfied. There's this wonderful Leela that, in Krishna's Leela in Dwaraka, he manifested 16,108 palaces and 16,108 forms of himself simultaneously. I don't know anybody that can do that but Krishna. During Rasa dance, he manifested himself in one form between each of the two gopis. And they weren't thinking that, Krishna's manifested multiple forms. They were thinking, Krishna's with me alone because he's attached to me. He has such love for me. Or when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing in Sankirtan at the Rath Yatra, he was present by mystic potency in such a way, he thought that each of the persons thought that he's simply looking at me. He's so attached to me. Or when Krishna was having lunch, and there's all the cowherd boys, and they're all having lunch. And the intimacy of love with Krishna was such that each of the cowherd boys was thinking the same thing. Krishna can't take his eyes off of me. He just has such love and affection for me alone. But each of the other cowherd boys was feeling the same thing. And same when Krishna was lifting Govardhana hill. Each of the different rasas simultaneously. It was like a grand crescendo that just went on and on. Like a kirtan that goes on and on. And each of the residents of Vrindavan was feeling that Krishna is attached to me. Completely fulfilling their desires. Uninterruptedly. Krishna is very expert. And Krishna is very clever. Another thing Krishna was doing was showing that very unique love of the residents of Vrindavan. Because although he was showing his Aishvarya, his mystic opulence, the residents of Vrindavan can't see Krishna like that. Although he was very obviously exhibiting. They were thinking something else. Nanda Maharaj was thinking, he's just a nice little boy. He's thinking he's lifting this hill. But a cowherd men, we're holding our canes and cow-herding sticks. We're holding up the hill. A nice little boy. In so many ways, Krishna was exhibiting his intimacy of love that's so strong that the residents of Vrindavan cannot possibly even see that he's the personality of Godhead. And that's one of the reasons, my appreciation of why Govardhana Puja is such a wonderful festival. Because even people that don't know anything, all of you from India, you have some inherent idea of Govardhana Puja, and it's the beauty of that pastime. But I've been in countries where they don't know anything. I mean, I may have shared this here once. I'll just end with this. I was once with Naranjana Swami in the Ukraine, where people don't speak English, they don't know who is Krishna, and they don't know who is Govardhan, and they take part in Govardhana Puja by the tens of thousands. In Kiev, which is the capital of Ukraine, they have this festival that every year they make a cake. We had this nice, hill of rice. Different. It's not like we have to compete with them, but they have this particular way. In the Russian-speaking parts of the world, cake is really popular. The devotees have cake businesses and things like that. So they make this cake. And I saw videos. I was in another place, in Kharkov. But in Kiev, a hall is, bigger than this. That's just cake. And it, taller than the ceiling here. And then, it's on national television because thousands of people come. And they, circumambulate around Govardhana Hill. It's not like they grab pieces of the cake. They have kirtan. It's amazing. It's because that flavor, that mood of Krishna reciprocating love with his devotees is part of this Leela. And even one doesn't know what's going on. It's just part of the Leela. It's part of the celebration. And the happiness, the joy is there in worshipping Krishna, lifting Govardhana Hill and making offerings unto Govardhana Hill, worshipping Govardhana Hill, circumambulating Govardhana Hill. Anyone who has done Govardhana Parikrama knows what I'm speaking about. We can walk a long distance and it's tiring, but you walk around Govardhana Hill and it's sublime. There's something very special about Govardhana Hill. It's Krishna. And Krishna performed this wonderful... Krishna loves Govardhana Hill. He wanted us to worship Govardhana Hill. And so we do every year. But Krishna's expert. Krishna's very clever. And Krishna has intimate pastimes that are so beautiful. They attract the hearts and the minds of all the conditioned souls to want to again come to Krishna in a eternal loving serving mood. And this is Govardhana Puja. Shri Govardhana Puja Maha Mahotsav Ki Jai.